Boas pessoal, estamos aqui com mais um vídeo, desta vez com uma novidade, desta vez estou sozinho, o António não está aqui e portanto basicamente eu vou começar a fazer uma série de single player deste jogo, o Stanley Parable. Portanto, um bocadinho sobre este jogo, não faço a mínima sobre o que é que este jogo é, nunca o joguei na vida, sei que é sobre o Stanley, que o Stanley é um personagem muito interessante, como vão ver agora.
Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and
Pronto, e basicamente o que eu também sei, outra coisa que é interessante neste jogo é que existem vários finais, várias possibilidades de finais para o jogo e cada um dependerá das ações que fazemos ao longo do jogo, nossas decisões e tudo isso. O pobre coitado não tem férias, fica a carregar neste teclado.
Stanley relished every moment that the orders came.
427.
So he had been made exactly for this job.
E pronto, nós vamos intercalar vídeos, portanto, de séries single player com vídeos de multiplayer, nós a jogarmos os dois ou com outras pessoas talvez.
Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time.
Que já
But as he came to regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me.
I can see it,
Forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell.
Sim, já
But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Oh. Tá bom.
All of his coworkers were gone. What could
Eles abrem uma porta.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
E onde é que será essa porcaria de sala? Será isto?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Será? Não.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge
Sim, é isso mesmo que eu vou fazer.
just to admire it.
Onde é que é essa porcaria? Hein? Sou rebelde.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Bebe, estúpido, bebe. Tá bom.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
À esquerda. Será que vou obedecer o gajo? Eu quero ir trabalhar. Não. Trabalho é chato.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Foi, é por cima, pobre coitado. Cacete. Se me suicidar agora aqui, o que acontece?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
Sim, realmente
There's
são
someone
pouco
you've been
interessantes.
neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
Está
I'm
engraçado.
not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Ah!
This is it,
Madame.
Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Onde está a
She's been
dama?
waiting.
É...
That's her, Stanley.
What?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Ah, isto é tipo memória.
Okay, there we go. All right, now.
Eu não consigo
I want you
mexer.
to come in
Engraçado.
and tell me all about
Gotcha.
É,
Oh,
isto foi.
come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Filha
Who'd want to
de-
commit their
Eu
life
achava
to
que havia
you?
uma dama.
I'm trying to make a point here,
Afinal.
Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Estúpido, anda cá.
This is
Oh.
a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
What? Flip, Stanley. Não. 2. 3, 4. Oh, tá-se bem.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has
Sim,
a
já
job that demands
percebemos.
nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to
He's
do.
a good boy,
Now
Stanley.
he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work.
Yeah,
I might even
tá
feel
bom.
sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Yes, yes.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures.
Com
From
este
behind
manequim,
his
então.
desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown,
Movies.
fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each
Muito
day that he
playful.
returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job.
Aconteceu a
First, he
televisão.
imagined that one day while at work, he
Estava
stepped
aqui.
up from his desk to
What?
realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought
Yeah,
excited
estou
him
excitado. Estou com este
terribly.
manequim aqui, meu Deus. The
So
boys.
he went further.
Afinal, o
He
Stanley A.K.A,
imagined that
pessoal,
he
peço
came to
desculpa.
2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions.
What?
And down
Não
another
vi.
was a game with a baby.
Spoiler.
The Stanley Parable.
Ah, é?
It
Tenho
was
mute
such a
agora.
wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing
Hey.
beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Tell your wife you love her.
But there is no answer. How could there
Oh não,
possibly be?
preciso tornar o
In
meu
reality,
currículo.
all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed.
Será que o jogo já
The
acabou?
longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he
Quadro
remains
apareceu
here,
também.
he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He
You
won't
won't
stop.
stop.
Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Ok. Não carrego, não carrego. Só que agora não estou a ser rebelde porque o gajo disse para não carregar. Que é isto? Sei que. Não carrego, não. Vou ter que carregar, não vou. Que grande chatice. É. Pronto, olha, paciência. Trabalhar.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Portanto, este gajo é um filho da puta vingativo.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him
Basicamente.
to. But I
E vai obrigar a
don't
ir sempre para o
know.
escritório de
I
merda.
simply play to my intended purpose.
Portanto, vai fazer o que eu acho que é.
We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see.
Maybe this time,
Maybe
yes.
this time. And I tried again.
Oh, please
And he
die.
pushed a button. And I tried again.
What?
And
No.
Stanley pushed a button.
Rip Stanley.
And I tried.
Rip. Pronto, Mari. E agora? Será que aquela primeira vez que a porta se fechou foi também uma
Stanley
vez?
decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned
Eu já
well
fui para o
by
caraças
himself.
duas vezes.
Constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. When Stanley came to
Sim,
a set
para a
of two open
esquerda.
doors, he entered the door on his left.
Tá bom. Ah, isto é simétrico ou outros? Menos esta parte.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
Tips for
hoping he
not
might
getting
find an
fired.
answer there.
Let it ball inside you. Take it out passive aggressively on other coworkers. Interessante. Os gráficos do gajo. Things, money, more money. Graphs about things plus money. Portanto, isto é tudo de coisas muito assim empresariais. Tal. Pessoal aqui, preto, branco, amarelo, rosa. Tá bom, tchau.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs
Sim,
to his
tá bom.
boss's office.
Não se fecha? Casa de banho executiva está fechada. Epá, que escritório,
To
é?
his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number.
Ah, agora já tenho rato.
2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known
Claro,
this.
claro que não.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer
Espetáculo.
luck. Amazing. He
E agora?
stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Ah! E agora, para onde é que eu vou? Hein? O que é isto? Um elevador. Suspense. E viste o que o gajo diz? O gajo volta a meter no escritóriozinho de bosta e passa-me para fogo. Este gajo.
Descending
Ah,
deeper into
pronto.
the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job.
Sim, vou
Why did he
questionar
think
agora, é
this
uma merda.
now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This
Como é
question would not
estúpido.
go unanswered for long.
Ah, é?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
Mind Control Facility. Esta é uma ideia. Quer saltar? Quer matar? Deixa matar. Escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hallway, Stanley would meet his violent death. But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Por acaso é engraçado as narrações interativas. Tipo. E se for tipo bluff, como é que é agora? Vou ou não vou? Morte violenta? Não. Por aqui, vamos ser controlados. Se o carrar neste tom, o que acontece? Hein? Tá.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television.
Oh meu Deus, estamos no X-Men.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
Professor
Did he have the strength
Charles.
to find
Não,
out?
não, tem uma pontezinha deficiente. Câmaras. Não tem nada. Câmaras.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Ela!
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The
She-
lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Zero. Quer dizer nada.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
Não, até
Had
pouquinho.
Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That
Pirate.
his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Deixa-me carregar no maldito botão. Ih, shots.
No. He refused to believe
No.
it. He couldn't accept it. His own life
Olha o que o
in
gajo nem
someone
foi.
else's
Rip.
control? Never. It
Rip
was
gajo 500 e tal.
unthinkable.
Ou 100,
Wasn't
104.
it?
104.
Was it
parece.
even possible? Had he truly
Tanto
spent his
vermelho.
entire life utterly blind to the world?
Oi. Oi. Oi,
The
Stanley.
proof,
Oi.
the heart of the
Mas
operation.
matam.
Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once
042-001.
and for all.
É? O que isto faz? O que é esta porcaria? Hein? 5. Aqui o que é que faz? Tudo offline, né? Facility power. Awaiting input.
And when at last he found the source
Engraçoso.
of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just
Yes.
activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah.
Control?
Sim, sim, sim.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I
Yeah.
really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're
Yeah.
going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid
Challenge
you don't have nearly the
accepted.
power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA,
Não, desliga.
nuclear
Rip,
detonators
Sanu.
to
Rip.
explode,
Rip.
eliminating the entire complex.
Rip.
How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley?
Ah,
It's
fugi.
your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story.
Este
now.
gajo,
Shape
conclusão,
it
este gajo
to
é um
your
filho da
heart's
puta.
desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had
Nem
in
quero a
mind.
cenazinha
What a
para
shame we have so
escapar.
little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before
Sim, sim,
you're
nem já está.
obliterated.
Os filhos de
Alright,
puta
I'm no
mandaram
good
todos.
mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
Filha da puta,
Other
portanto,
times,
como eu
I
tinha
let the office sink into the ground.
05 então? Há um botão 0? Há um botão 0?
Burn to a crisp. I have to say this though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go.
Stanley.
But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better.
Eu nem me consigo matar nem nada.
Only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on.
Não, eu não quero. Mata-me de vez.
These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you say that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Não, não tenho.
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a
I have 2
spoiler.
champs remaining.
That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first.
Goodbye.
So you can't.
Employee 47.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a nothing. No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life? Or will you let it go peacefully?
Isso é muito não para isto, rapaz, é muito não.
Or
Não faças
it's
isto.
all the same
Não
to
faças
me,
isto.
all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable.
Isto é que o gajo musical, é? Espetáculo.
Until the moment I say, happily ever up.
RIP. Escritório não outra vez. Não. Beleza. Pronto. Espetáculo. Bem, acho que acabar este vídeo aqui, pessoal. Próxima vez seguimos o que o outro gajo se quiser e pronto. Carregamos o maldito botão. Lá vai o gajo matar-me outra vez. E pronto, vou acabar aqui o vídeo. Até à próxima, pessoal. Espero que tenham gostado. Se não, podem ir para Braga ou para o Cacete. É a vossa escolha. Tchau.